Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Hello, RailCats fans, and welcome back to another edition of the RailCats Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Savetich, and it is currently 2:30 in the morning, and I have gotten back from work, and I decided let's get the podcast started and talk about Sunday's game against Kane County, the 3-1 loss, super fast game. It was only 2 hours and 18 minutes, and for me, it worked out perfectly because the game started at 1 and I had to leave by 3:50, so it was over by like 3:18. So that was a positive for me, so I was able to watch the entire game and be able to get ready and go to work. So good fun times on this one. Not so much the game, but at least the timing worked itself out. It was a very fast game, hot game. I think they said it was the game time temperature they show here was 89. They said 90, but it felt like 102. So I know there was a handful of RailCats fans out there tonight yesterday's game. But it definitely was a hot one. I would say that one at least, especially being a 1 o'clock game in late August. I know it's August still, and it still gets kind of hot, but for that, then you got the 2 nights prior to that, which were really nice nights, which kind of sucks on that portion of it. But okay, let's go ahead and kind of get into this today's game, and then we'll get into a series preview against Fargo. And it shouldn't take very long to get through this game because there's really not much to talk about. Let's just run through real quick. RailCats go 1-2-3 in the first. Kane County Upshaw hits a ground rule double, and then Ordonez flies out to center, and then Randolph hits an RBI single, which would bring in Upshaw. Davis strikes out. Allen hits a single. Sanchez flies out to center as well. And then in the second inning, Mariaga is the first base runner for the RailCats. He gets a walk and then steals a base. Bockley strikes out. Castillo grounds out to the pitcher. Del Valle flies out to right field. The bottom of the second, the Kane County goes 1-2-3 with a strikeout for Harrison Francis. In the third, Cadell flies out to left. Lingua grinds out to second, and Diaz strikes out. Going to the fourth, another 1-2-3 inning for the Kane County Cougars. Allen, Sanchez both strike out back-to-back. Bozanic gets robbed by Castillo out in left field. What a nice diving play. I think I forgot to mention in last podcast about G.O.D.'s nice play in left field. So the only thing... Those were nice plays, and this is kind of jumping off subject real quick. You know, I really enjoy Joe Brand. I can't think of the other guy's name. Being a Blackhawks person and listening to WGN and Joe Brand being on there, you know, a lot of credit towards him and their knowledge and stuff like that. But the biggest issue that I had with those two was there's a lot of like. I think it was the first game. I think Gio was playing second, and they kept saying Woodworth. And then in yesterday's game, Sunday's game, they kept saying Gio was out in left, but it was actually Castillo. So like, I don't know if they're like really paying attention to the lineup cards, stuff like that. That's just like it's a pet peeve of mine. Like I like at least kind of keep the lineup straight. But other than that, I enjoy listening. They're probably we were robbed basically of listening to Ryan Zimmerman for the 3 games because I believe in the first game it cut out to I think the 6th inning. There was no more, and then the next 2 were just all Kane County broadcasts, which is fine. If you're gonna cut a broadcast out for the RailCats, Kane County is the one that you kind of want to watch. They do a lot of interactive fun stuff. like especially like the bottom of the sixth where they have like a podcast inning basically where they don't really talk about the game, but they talk about other things. And if you're not used to that, kind of gets a little bit distracting. But I could see it maybe them doing that like in like the first half of the inning when the other team's batting, not so much their team, but that's beside the point. That's the only tangent I'll go off on. So yep, that ended the fourth, and then the RailCats at the top of the fifth went 1-2-3 again. Gonzalez popped out to first. Valera pops out foul territory. Mariaga grounds out to second. Bottom of the fifth, they go 1-2-3, and Harrison Francis really picked it up after that first inning where he kind of gave up a lot of hits, and he shuts them. Basically, they all 1-2-3 except in the third when Randolph hits a double, but nothing major going on there. But he was on fire, and it just sucks that he's the one that ends up getting a no decision on it. I guess it'd rather be a no decision than a loss, because I thought there for a minute he was just going to get tagged with the loss, and that would have really sucked on that portion of it. But yeah, the bottom of the fifth going to the top of the sixth here. Well, I guess at the top of the fifth, RailCats go 1-2-3. Top of the fifth, they go 1-2-3. And then going here into the sixth, Cadell breaks the hit list. They went through the half the game and didn't get a hit, and Cadell breaks it with a single, and then Lingual strikes out, and then Gio hits a twin 4-6-3 double play, which ended up ending the inning there. The bottom of the sixth for the Kane County Cougars, they went 1-2-3, all strikeouts for Harrison Francis on that portion of it. I forget. It was after this, so that was his last inning of work before Yohan came in. Looking here at the seventh, so Gonzalez grounds out to first. Valera gets a walk. Mariaga strikes out, and Bockley hits a single, and then Castillo walks, bases loaded. Del Valle comes in strong on the portion of it, and he drives in the only run for the RailCats. It was kind of one of those, like, you kind of felt something was going to come out of it. You had bases loaded, 2 outs, and Del Valle came in and produced the runs that he needed to. And then Cadell grounds to third, but they throw over to second to get Del Valle out there, so that ends the seventh there. And then you kind of had the rocky bit of a start. This I when I was talking about the bad inning, this yes, it wasn't a terrible inning, but like when you look at the grand scheme of things, if this was like, I don't know, Saturday's game, like this inning would have kind of just been with the normal of it. But when you look at the game and how the flow was, this was the bad inning for the RailCats, and the bad inning they had, the mental lapse of the error, the basically walking the bases loaded situation didn't help what happened here. And that was just the bad inning that cost the RailCats the game, really, realistically speaking. So how it turns out, Yohan Valdez comes in. Allen walks, Sanchez walks, Bozanic. This one, it was like I forget where he grounds it. Let me see if it might show me. Let's see, this was the seventh. Not Bozanic. I can't say his name. Bazabi. I can't say his name. For some reason I can't say his name. But you guys who know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so it was he advances to first, but it was a sacrifice fielder's choice. I think he hit it to third. Or was it Valera? I don't remember exactly how it transpired itself, but the ball came back to Goodell, and Goodell tried getting him whoever out at first. Wait, my bad. It was after the Creel. It was on the Creel hit this happened. So they actually tagged Gonzalez for the error. I feel like it wasn't him. I thought it was Cadell that threw the ball that caused him to score. But they tagged Gonzalez with it, so I'm not sure how. I may have to go back and rewatch that. But yeah, I thought it was Cadell that ended up making the error. I know it was a fielder's choice situation. I think I forget how that all kind of transpired itself out. But anyways, what I'm getting to is that Cadell overthrew first because he was trying to get the person out at first, and that brought in Allen to score. It actually tagged him with an earned error. So yeah, there's a lot that went on, but I don't have it fully. my apologies for really screwing this inning up, because a little bit. If it was fresher on my mind, I would probably have gotten a better situation. But anyways, the big thing is I'm pretty sure Allen scored on this. They gave him the earned run, but then there was a sacrifice fly from Cripps Jr. That was technically unearned. I don't really know how that one works out, but that's what happened there. That's what I mean, classified as a bad inning necessarily. It wasn't terrible, but it was a bad inning that ended up being the blueprint of the loss. Because looking at the rest of it, going into the 8th, RailCats go 1-2-3. Bottom of the 8th, they go 1-2-3, and then in the 9th inning, Valera gets a single, but then Mariaga grounds out in a double play, and then Buckley grounds out to second. That was the big thing. When we look here, Harrison Francis went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 9 strikeouts. Valdez came in for a third of an inning, gave up 2 runs, which one was earned, then 2 walks. Eisenberg came in and he shut the door only with 2 strikeouts. The funny thing on the Karchek Kowalczyk, I think it was, is actually the pitching coach. And fun little fact here, looking at his profile here, he grew up in Indianapolis and actually went to Valparaiso University. So there's a little tidbit for you. And he was the pitching coach, and they just signed him, and he made his first start in a while, and he went 4 innings and didn't give up a hit, 1 walk and 3 strikeouts. He wasn't tagged with the win because of the tie that happened later in the game. Richardson came in for them. He pitched 2 innings, one hit, 2 strikeouts. Rogel came in, gave up 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, a strikeout, and then Carter came in for an inning, struck out 2. Neeson came in for 1 inning, 1 hit, and he got the save. Looking at the RailCats hitting here, Diaz, Gonzalez, they all went 0 for 4. Valera went 1 for 3 with a run and a walk. Mariaga went 0 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout. Buckley went 1 for 4 with 1 strikeout. Castillo went 0 for 2 with a walk. Del Valle went 1 for 3 with an RBI and a strikeout. Cadell went 1 for 3. Lingua went 0 for 3 with 1 strikeout. Looking at Upshaw, he went 1 for 4, 1 run, 1 strikeout. Ordonez went 0 for 4 with 1 strikeout. Randolph went 2 for 4, 1 RBI, 1 strikeout. Davis went 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Allen went 1 for 2, 1 run, 3 walks, and 1 strikeout. Hector Sanchez went 1 for 2, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. Basabi, there we go. Basabi went 0 for 2. Creel went 0 for 3 with 1 strikeout. Cripps Jr. went 0 for 2 with an RBI and 2 strikeouts. And then maybe someone can riddle me this question because I was kind of confused by it. I guess I could probably answer it myself when I go here. Let me see. I was confused because of the whole Pete Kozma thing. Maybe I can answer myself. Because he's played in 63 games. And then they just re-signed him back, but I guess they might have released him after the Cleveland series. Looked like he's not on the score sheet, and they signed him back. So maybe that was the issue. I was kind of thrown back by them. Like, I thought Pete Cosmo was on the team the entire time, and they re-signed him back. I'm so confused. But I think I answered my own question if I just sometimes look things up before I talk. That always good thing too. But those things I just don't pop in my head right away when I think about it. So yeah. That wrapped it up with that series. It just kind of sucks really for Harrison Francis, and this was the inconsistent thing I talk about. Starting pitching finally gets it together, and the offense just isn't there to hold the fort down. Defense has a mental lapse, and it's just one of those things. Like, the inconsistency of this team has been really the killer. They got the talent, just there's no consistency, and that's something that you can't coach. And I think that's the biggest issue that I'm having is, it's easy to say, it's on the coach for not putting the lineup together correctly. It's on the coach for, after the offense explosion, you change things around. Like, maybe that's causing a lot of it, is maybe the way the lineups are being produced. Like, people are being consistent, and then you change it around, and it's just not working. I guess I don't know if it's that or if it's a player just not being consistent. I just one of those, it's a very hard line to navigate necessarily. And it's not like you look at the Kane County Cougars, and it's like, okay, they're not going to produce a lot of offense, but the pitching staff is going to limit what's going to happen, and that's what they rely on. And you look at the Kane County RailCats, you're like, well, they pitched really good this game, but no offense. Or their offense was there and the pitching wasn't there. Starting pitching was there, the offense was there, but the bullpen blew it. Like, there's just the inconsistencies of everything, and that's the confusing part of it all. But yeah, that wraps it up for that series. It's tough. What are you going to do? Looking ahead to Fargo-MooreHead, they are coming off a 4-game series against Kansas City. They actually are playing today, the Monday 21st at 7 o'clock. So they are playing in Kansas City, and then they're making their way up to Gary South Shore. So they don't get a day break on that portion of it. I know they are still fighting for their playoff lives. If I look here at the standings, they are currently a half game back of the Lincoln Salt Dogs. So yeah, we're gonna be catching a team that's really ready to come in and try to get a win going, get a couple wins going, and seeing here that the Lincoln Salt Dogs are gonna be facing. I think it looks like it's gonna be Kansas City, so it's gonna be a tough game. If you're Fargo-MooreHead, you're really circling this one on your calendar, and you need a sweep in order to really gain some ground over that way. But maybe at this point, you're just going to play spoilers. I really think the Gary South Shore RailCats just play spoilers at this point and just ruin as many hopes and dreams as possible of other teams, because their playoff hopes are basically gone. I know the last podcast I said it was on life support. We're past the point of life support. Like, they're just already digging the hole. The grave's already there. So we're just finding out the rest of the season at this point. It just kind of sucks that, you're just going to miss the playoffs again and then maybe try against next year, and speculations and stuff like that. So yeah, Fargo-MooreHead RedHawks coming to town. It's the last of the home games. They got 6 more left. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. Should be a good time. I think I'll be at every game. I know Sunday for sure, but I should probably be at every game. So yeah, if you're going Sunday, get there early. Give away the baseball cards. So yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your evening, whenever you're watching this, and go Cats.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Wrap this one up in green and white.